Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about one problem from deadlock concept. Here the problem statement is, here we are having three processes P1 and P2 and P3 and two resources R1 and R2. R1 is single instance resource and R2 is a multiple instance resource. Here the statement is, process P1 and P2 acquiring the resource R1 and R2 and process P3 acquiring the resource R2, and the resource R1 is allocated for the process P1 and the resource R2 is allocated for the process P2, and the process P1 is waiting for the resource R1 and the process P2 is waiting for the resource R1. So here in this problem statement we have to find whether our system having deadlock or not, and also we need to find the need matrix, and also we need to find the process execution statements. These are all the things we have to find from the situation. So here according to that problem, here we are having a graph. Here we are considering the three process P1, P2 and P3 and two resource R1 and R2. R1 is a single instance resource which is allocated for the process P1, and R2 is a multiple instance resource. In this multiple instance, one is allocated for the process P2 and another one is allocated for the process P3. And process P1 wants to complete its execution means it need the resource or instance R2, and process P2 wants to complete its execution means it need the resource R1. So here, which makes it cycle, P1 is waiting for R2 and P2 is waiting for the resource R1. So here according to our deadlock condition, if there is a cycle or if there is a single instance in our problem means there will be a chance for deadlock. Suppose if there is a cycle, also the resources are multiple instance resource means there will be a possibility for deadlock and non-deadlock. So in this situation, how we can find the deadlock means, by drawing this table, we can, by calculating the allocated resource and needed resource, we can find whether our system having deadlock or not. So here let's we consider the our three process P1, P2 and P3. For that we have to calculate allocated resource. So already we are having two resource R1 and R2. R1 is a single instance resource, R2 is a multiple instance resource. So in this one, so the process P1 already resource R1 is allocated for the process P1, R2 is not allocated for process P1, and resource R2 is allocated for the process P2. Also the resource R2 is allocated for the process P3. These are all allocated resource for the particular process. Next we need to find needed resource. So generally we are having two resources R1 and R2. Suppose the P1, R1 resource is already allocated for the process P1. Suppose the process P1 wants to complete its execution means it need one instance from the R2 resource. So same thing, the R2 resource is already allocated for the process P2. So it wants to complete its execution means it need a instance from R1 resource. So next P3 process. So this P3 process, for this P3 already R2 resources allocated for the process P3. So it wants to complete its execution means it does not want any kind of resource. So here the needed resource is 0, 0. So by executing this P3 process, we can get one instance from the R2. So before that we have to calculate available resource. So currently available resource is 0, 0 because we are having one instance from R resource and two instance from R2 resource. So that is what 1 is already allocated for the process P1. So in R2, in that R2 already the one is allocated for the process P2, other one is allocated for the process P3. So now the currently available resources are 0, 0. So with this currently available resource, here we can try to execute any one of these process. So with this 0, 0 availability, we can execute the process P3. So why I'm telling like this means, if we want to execute the process P3 means it don't want any kind of resource. Already the resource P R2 is allocated for the process P3. So it wants to complete its execution means it don't want any kind of additional resources. So with the availability of 0, 0, we can execute the process P3. Once we executed the process P3 means it will release the one instance from the R1. So now the currently available resource is 0, 1. So after P2 execution, after P3 execution, the availability of resources 0, 1. Then with this availability we can try to execute another process. So here we are having one instance in R2. So with this we can try to execute the process P1. So if we want to execute the process P1 means it need only one instance from R2. So with this availability we can execute the process P1. So after P1 execution, after P1 execution, see here. So here if we executed the process P1 means here we can get one instance from R2, then additionally we can get one instance from R1. Once the P1 is executed means we can get two more resource, one from R1, another one from R2. So now 1, 2. So here this is what happening in process execution. So now all the process now the P2 P1 process is executed successfully. Then with the availability of 1, 2 we can try to execute the process P2. So for its execution it need only one instance from R1. So once the P1 is completed means it will release the instance from R1. So we can, the process P2 can get the resource from R1 for its execution. So after completing this P1 we can execute the process P3. So now all the process are executed successfully. Now the system does not having any deadlock. So this is what the answer for the first question. Whether system having deadlock means no, it does not have any deadlock. Next, your question is find the need matrix. So here need matrix is what means, here the needed resources are for particular process are considered as a needed matrix. So here we can write our needed matrix 0, 1, then 1, 0, then 0, 0. This is what needed matrix. Then next question is write the process execution sequence. So here process execution system does not have any deadlock means there will be a corresponding process execution. So here how we can write that execution, process execution means, so at first with the availability of 0, 0 we first executed the process P3. So it will come first. Next with the availability of P3 0, 1 we executed the process P1. So after that, with the availability of 1 comma 2, we executed the process P2. So this is what the process execution sequence. Thank you all.